Are you connecting all the dots on the journey to your inner wisdom? Are you looking for a fresh perspective on the messages you've been asking for?
So who doesn't want to be happier, healthier, wealthier, and wiser, and be able to make life's choices with confidence because they finally see the signs? We know you do.
I'm Angela Coulter.
And I'm Sarah Sieg Avignoni.
We're two conscious journeyers dedicated to turning over those rocks and helping you on your personal intuitive sleuthing mission of evolution in our multi-dimensional hologram.
And that includes Earth too.
Yes, it does. Welcome to Solving Me, our conscious puzzle-solving podcast, where we look at the natural relation between your life experiences and their meaning in the bigger picture, from the most mundane to the most overwhelming.
So what do we mean by all this? Well, have you ever thought that getting a flat tire and twisting your ankle could be related? And maybe a message about what's preventing you from getting that awesome, high-paying job you would love. Believe it or not, it's all connected.
Want to know more? Come on and let's get sleuthing. See what comes up in this episode, because it might just be about you. Welcome to episode 17. Today we're hitting on a topic that we've touched on in other episodes, and it really deserves its own episode, so to speak. I was going to say its own day, but and that's
and this is more where the topic has gotten increasingly louder, and we're to the point where it's pretty much a showstopper at this point.
Literally.
Right.
And that is issues with cars. And we did a whole thing on transportation and, getting delayed and everything else. But this is like, I was sitting at a light and got rear-ended from nowhere. I was pulling out in a parking lot and I hit somebody, or they hit me, or
right. T-bone comes to mind.
What was that?
T-boned.
Oh, T-bone. Yes. T-bone comes to mind. Absolutely. Which
I have totaled my brand new car.
Yeah.
Those kind of bold situations.
And so if we have gotten to that point, so, all right, there's different levels of intensity of these experiences, right? Whether you get hurt in them, somebody gets hurt, all kinds of things. But one of like if it comes to a point where you're getting to an accident, it's something you've been ignoring for a while, probably.
And, it could even be one of those collective circumstances where, it's a 20 car pileup in horrible fog north of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yep.
That's 20 people who agreed to come together and say, okay, we need to look at this.
Because we're all ignoring something in our lives that is going to cause this to be our message at this point.
Very good point.
So, and what we tend to do is we claim victimhood to those situations, because we're like, I had no control over it. I was sitting at a light. Somebody just hit me out of nowhere. Or
yes.
I was like minding my own business, driving along and blah, blah, blah. So
it can't be about me.
Exactly. It's not about me. It's about them, but somehow I just happen to be a part of it.
Yes, I'm part of the message, but it's not for me.
Can we say denial, boys and girls?
Exactly. Loud and clear.
Yeah. So when we come down to our standard statement of the episode of having is evidence of wanting, right?
Yes.
Then if I have this in my reality, it's there to tell me something. Now, it might not be as evident. I find that car accidents are a little wiggy because they're all over the place as to what they can mean for us. It's very individual, unique to the individual. So where one person might get hit from behind and say walk away and just have, a headache or whatever, and then be fine, right?
Bumps and bruises, right?
Or not even that, or just a hurt fender or something like that. It can also often be something about being hit from behind, literally hit from behind. Like, what are you denying yourself to see?
What are you blind to?
What are you blind to? Right? What what do you feel like, or what's about to hit me out of what I feel like is nowhere that I
Uh-huh.
haven't been looking at because I've been getting other signs that I've been ignoring?
Or I've been distracted by something else.
Yeah.
And that I had to have this brought to my attention in such a way that it stopped me in my tracks.
Yes. And distracted by something else can be when you rear end somebody because you looked away for a moment, or
Or someone was texting you,
mhm.
and that was a more important thing than paying attention to what you were actively doing.
But it doesn't even have to be that, because in all honesty, on my 40th birthday 300,000 years ago, or
Wasn't that
yesterday,
long ago. Yeah.
I can't remember which one that was. I was at a friend's house and I was on my way home, and I wasn't even looking at my phone, so there was no texting or anything involved. It was raining. I'll never forget this. It was raining out. I was coming up to an exit ramp, and I had something on my, like, under my nose, right? And I thought, like, and I was like trying to scratch it, and I looked away from the road for like literally 2 seconds because I was like looking at my finger scratching my nose, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I look up, and the person in front of me had stopped short, and I was like,
Whoops.
and had a bit of a bender. That was
A
not a good
coming together.
coming together. So, do I remember what that was about? No, because, oh, well, my 40th birthday was shortly before I had my grand awakening.
Ah,
I had to think about that. I never really thought about that before. Interesting. So, and now it's funny because I called that my grand awakening, although I'd been having messages for years beforehand that were gaining in intensity of what was, like what was there for me to look at, but I didn't even know to look at it. And so look at what a great representation that actually was.
right. Absolutely.
Like, look what you're coming up on. Look at it. Look. And when
Right,
I
right.
hit it, that's what I felt like I hit later on that year.
It'll be here before you're ready or before you
Before you,
even notice.
yes. So look at how individual that was for me. Like, and I've never until this moment put that together.
Awesome.
But the thing to be really cognizant of is when that happens, like, look at the dynamics and situations. So, okay, so in that situation, look, that was pretty, I mean, look, it took me how many years? 14 years to figure that out. I didn't know to look at that at the time. But often, sometimes it happens so that, well, I've been getting redirected from my expanded self. I've been getting a push to change directions and I refuse. So now I have to literally be stopped in my tracks. So guess what? I had to create an accident that was going to take me out for a little bit, break my leg, break my arm, get
And
some
it
kind of
and
injury.
it stops me in my tracks to the point where I have to go to great lengths to be able to go in any direction again.
Exactly.
Which I think that's really important to notice is like, even if it's not necessarily a car accident, but what if it's, all of a sudden it's like, I need a new engine in my car, major repair, or the transmission goes, or something that's no small ticket item. And it's like, okay, you're not going anywhere
Mm-hmm.
until
Until you
you
look at
look at
this.
this, until
Exactly.
you look at this and have time to examine it and really gain a relationship with it. What is this telling me?
Yes.
What am I refusing to see? What am I blind to?
And what was the outcome of this in the bigger picture? Like, if I have some permanent damage, like I know somebody who had a traumatic brain injury and changed the entire sort of course of their life through doing it by that car accident.
Right.
And it was like, well, except you've been getting these messages and denying that. And this is a conscious person that was aware of things and saying, no, I refuse to do this way, even though her expanded self or the universe or however you want to put it was pushing her in that direction, in a different direction. And she's like, no, 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 I refuse.
Or I know better.
I know better, right? Says the ego. And then the expanded self says, well, now we've run out of time. Now it's time to simply redirect ourselves. And sometimes it is, I feel like a lot of serious car accidents like that are massive redirections. They're massive,
Yes.
like,
Well, and I mean, you could even point to stories of people who had that near death experience due to a car accident. Their life will never be the same from that point moving forward. And it's like, okay, so it took this to make me stop and go a different direction.
yes. And because we are stubborn, our egos are stubborn and can be. I met a woman one time at a conference I was at in New Mexico years ago. And we got into this conversation, and she was talking about how she had been a math teacher and she had been having more and more insights and things coming to her. And it was very, intuitive and nonlinear, which is a nightmare to a math teacher.
That logical brain.
And she said, it was pressing on me, pressing on me, pressing on me to explore. And I was ignoring it because it was not logical. It was, like, because I knew things and all that kind of stuff. It was uncomfortable because it wasn't logical. And I got into a car accident that laid me up for 2 months and I couldn't do anything but listen to the intuition coming in. And
it's the epitome of losing control.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And sometimes we are so stubborn that we give ourselves no choice through car accidents, through major repairs, or your car stolen.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh, right out
just
from under
gone.
you, right?
Right out from under. It's just gone.
Yes. Yes. But when we're, and when we get to that point where you have the physical repercussions from whatever happens, that's like a double whammy. You're not going anywhere and you're really not going anywhere.
Right.
I think about, yeah. And typically when it's a fairly major car accident, every person I know who's been in a major car accident in their lives, it has been a major redirection in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. 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 I was talking to a friend the other day and she said, I never realized, number one, what my car represented to me until it was no longer there. And number two, the things that I took for granted, whether it was financially, future plans, things like that. And she said, it knocked me out for a couple of weeks, just all the ramifications of totaling my car.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great opportunity to sit there and say, okay, all the way back to episode 1, what are the goals in my life? Mm-hmm. Where am I saying I want this, but doing this? And having that incongruency.
Yes, because there is, if it's to that point, if you get to that point of an accident like that, there are some major incongruencies that we're denying ourselves.
Right. And I remember you and I've talked a lot about how that, identity crisis is that what you want and what you got don't meet up, don't match. And that's an identity crisis. Well, your goals and where you are don't match. It's a crisis. And you've let it go to the point where, okay, crisis meets crisis.
Yes. So let's just create that explosion. So you have to strip everything away and look at it bare boned.
Right. Absolutely.
Like I think about, I'm sure my husband doesn't care that I talk about this on the air, but he had his major car accident when we were only dating for 6 months. And I think back to that now and I think, wow, that was a major redirection because he almost died in that accident. And they had to literally not to be gross here, but they had to literally take out all his insides, reorganize them to put him back in so they would be in the proper order because they had gotten so messed up and he had broken all his ribs and all, on one side and all. I'm like, so you want to talk about major redirection and okay, not only that, but we have to reset your entire body to align in this major redirection.
Oh, and reorganization.
So that you would move forward in this different path. And that's intense. But
That is.
so the thing to think about here is not any judgment on it. There's no judgment on getting to that because it is a fairly emergent thing. And it typically is because we have been very stubborn and denying ourselves to see a redirection of some sort from the expanded self.
Yes. I agree.
So the key is not to be judgmental because the first thing we want to say is, well, yeah, like why would I do that? And I can't believe I had to do that. And I'm so stupid.
And why me?
And I'm a bad person that I would ignore things like that. If it was so important, why did I ignore it? And it's like, just come to a place of seeing its place in the bigger picture and committing yourself to not letting it get any bigger.
Right. And, I love that phrase that, gratitude crowds out so many other emotions. And if you can come to that place of gratitude, you can't be angry. You can't be, have those negative self images. You just come to that place of gratitude of, I accept where I am and I'm listening. You have my attention now.
Exactly. So if you've come to that, or you or somebody you know has been in a car accident, or had some major issues where the engine seized up, or a car was stolen, or a car could have even gotten wrecked when you weren't even in it.
Oh, right.
Like
yes.
You're parked someplace, because that's where we don't even see that message because we're like, oh, I wasn't even in the car, it had nothing to do with me, and da da da. And it's like, oh, or maybe it does.
Exactly.
In reality, there's a reason for it. So yes, there's probably a really big reason for the other person who hit it, or for whatever, like whoever was involved in that, even if you weren't in it. But there's still a lesson for you for losing your wheels,
right?
For losing your movement, for losing your mobility. And why are you now in a place of not a non-independence, right?
Well, and so many people identify through their cars, and they define themselves, and it's like losing your identity there for that period of time. It's like, well, who am I now?
Well,
and go through that process of, okay, if you've totaled your car, you've got to pick a car. So who am I now?
Yes. There's somebody I know. This just hit me while we're talking about this too. There's somebody I know who brought a brand new, I guess for lack of a better term, and there's no judgment here, but this is sort of the joke, is a brand new like midlife crisis car.
Right.
Not too long ago. And I think they may have had it for a year now or something, maybe 2. They've already had 3 accidents in that car, 3 situations. And one was like the brake, just like some weird defect. The brake just gave way and the car rolled into another car. Like one, the person was in a drive-through car wash, right?
Right.
Well, drive-through car wash. So you're not even doing anything on the car wash. Well, the person in front of them had jammed on their brakes and jumped unknowingly jumped the track. And all of a sudden, this person's car just started hitting the car.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting there listening to this going, oh, well, this is the 3rd time. I can't even remember what the second time was. I'm pretty sure it's the 3rd time. And you're thinking, okay, so what's the message here? Like, what are you forcing, or what do
what are you refusing? Like a child having a temper tantrum, I will not look at this.
Yeah. I'm just going to
I
press
will not
forward.
acknowledge this as a
Pressing forward, no matter if I keep on bumping up against something. I guess that's sort of what it stands for. So this is what I'm saying. There's no judgment on this. It's like, wow, but it's a loud message. So that's the thing. If you have come to an accident, like the first step is to put your hand on your heart, forgive yourself, apologize to yourself, forgive the person involved as you, another facet of you. And then to say, okay, now I'm ready to look at this in acceptance and gratitude for what it has provided me the message to see.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah, we would love to hear some feedback on that, because I know it's very individual for the person. So let us know.
Yes.
Do some reflection and let us know. Thanks for listening to us on Solving Me. If you found this podcast helpful, make sure to subscribe so you get notice every time we post a new episode.
And for a short time, we have a special bonus for you. Go to solvingme.net to download your free ebook, which outlines the next level of conscious solutions for your inner investigation.
Be sure to help us spread the word. Share us with others you know who want to solve the puzzles of their everyday life through the filter of expanded consciousness and have fun doing it.
One more thing. Do you have some puzzling life circumstances where you feel blocked and you'd like our take on what's going on? Send us your conscious puzzle at connect@solvingme.net, and maybe you'll be the topic of a future episode.
Until next time, happy sleuthing.